neighbor Alicia Dolan here at Creating in My Corner. I am here with another Stampin' Sunday card class for you, free card class. I know that some of you might have signed up for the Stampin' Up special that's going on, so maybe you have some new things, or maybe you have new things on their way to you. I don't know, but I'm excited for you if you do. Tonight we are going to make some cards using the Ornamental Christmas bundle, and the suite comes with some paper. Okay, it's this stamp set, and there are dies that go with it. See those dies in there? There's one more it's missing, but we're going to use that one tonight. I hope that you'll like these cards. The first one is pretty traditional. Actually, none of them are really traditional Christmas colors, as far as I'm concerned. So they're a little different, but I hope that you love them anyway. We're going to do some embossing tonight, and that is always fun. I'm not sure if we're doing anything else special, but we'll see as we go along. So tonight's card class will have 3 cards, and if you place your order this week before Saturday at 11:59, just because I need to choose a time, Saturday at 11:59, then I will send you the card kit to go with these this class, but only if you choose me as your demonstrator, and you have to place an order for $35 or more on the Stampin' Up website. I'm going to turn the camera around, and we are going to get started with our class. Okay, the first, I haven't tidied up my space here. I did tidy it up once already today, but not all the way. So you'll see the little bits of things hanging about that we'll be using. I had a in-person event on Saturday that was lots of fun. So thank you to everyone who came. I got to stamp with Georgette and Sam and Laura and my mom. So it was a wonderful time. And hopefully some of you can join us for the next one. So the next one will be December 6th. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our class. The first card we're going to make, I have them in little envelopes here. I copied from someone else, okay? So you can copy cards and send them. All right, this I cased from the Green Moon Stamp Studio. I really love the layout of this card. I love everything about it. So I'm going to show you how to make it. First, we need a piece of basic white cardstock, and this is cut 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. So we are just going to fold this in half, and we're going to use a bone folder to press our fold. Now we need a piece of designer series paper. This is from the I think it's called Modern Christmas. Hold on, I can tell you. I have it right here. Modern Christmas Specialty Designer Series paper. So if a designer series paper has some gold in it, a lot of the time it is considered specialty. So it's a little more expensive, but it's really pretty. It catches the light a little bit. And we are going to cut this at 1.5. So we're going to make a piece that is 1.5 by 5.5. Now you could switch this pattern out and case this card for yourself and make a completely different card. And I will try to put one of those in the directions. I don't always do that, but I like you to be able to see how you can use what you already have or use something different and use the same layout to create your card. Okay, that is going to go right there. And next we need our piece of basic white for here, this next layer, and that is going to be 3.5 by 4.5. Did I say 4.5? Yep, 3.5 by 4.5. So I'm just going to grab a piece of white, my little scrap bag here, and I just keep the extras in a little bag off to the side because I use a lot of white. All right, we're going to cut that at 3.5 and then again at 4.5. Okay, there's our next piece. We're going to cut all our pieces first and then we'll stamp at the end. Next, we need this circle here, and this is in the dies. So this set of dies comes with one circle, this one right here, and it measures about 3 inches, which is a really good size circle, not just for ornaments, but for a lot of other stuff. Okay, I need a scrap piece of black, which I think I have right over here. I tend to have a lot of black and a lot of white scraps. Okay, so we'll cut that out. And tonight I am using my Big Shot for my die cutting. You can use whatever die cutting machine you prefer, as long as you have the proper sandwich. I feel like I'm getting a whole little stacks of scraps everywhere. Okay, and now we're going to cut out a few of these little gold extras here. So I've got some gold foil I tucked in here with these. And inside our dies, there are these, which are little stars, and these, which can be little ornament toppers. They could be other things too, but they definitely work as ornament toppers. So we're going to place our foil down, and then our star pieces. And then we just need one ornament topper. Okay. And we can sandwich those in. Try not to scoot them around too much. And run them through. They kind of stick to my top plate a little bit there. I must need to run a dryer sheet on it again. Okay, here's one of our little gold bits. Okay, here's our topper. And here are our other little stars. Anytime you see a card you really like, Hi, Kim. All right, have a good Bible study. I'm sure it will be good. All right, there's our stars and I'm glad you could join for a little while. And we are going to do our embossing first. So over here I have my embossing buddy, and this is just a little pouch filled with magic powder. I don't really know exactly what it is. But when we rub it on top of our paper, it removes the static so that when we add our embossing powder, you don't get little speckles where you don't want there to be little speckles. Okay, now we're going to stamp our Merry Christmas. So for that we need our Versamark ink. And we're going to put our Merry Christmas on this block, which is D. So this is one of the really common blocks I use. I use the block D a lot. This is another night where I can't see that you're watching. So I'm glad that you said something, Kim, because I can't see any little eyes watching. But maybe you just saw me like the preview in your feed. Okay, we're tapping our Versamark ink on our stamp. Now, one thing you need to know about Versamark ink is this is a foam pad. It's not linen, or it's not hard, so it's squishy. So if you wanted to, you could press it down so hard that it smushes all the way up around. But then when you stamp, you're going to get a smushed image. So what you want to do is just tap your ink on there until it's nice and shiny. Can you see how it's shiny there? And you just want to make sure that it's shiny evenly around if you can. Now we're going to stamp it down, and we're just going to press firmly, but we're not going to smash anything. Okay, we're pressing firmly, we're not smashing. Now I'm going to grab my embossing tray, and this is my gold embossing powder here. I've got two colors of powder on, so I'm going to have to be careful not to mix them. But I usually keep a piece of paper, it's just a piece of printer paper nearby, and I have several different ones. So I try to always use the same one for the same colors. That way my powders don't get mixed up and my images come out a little bit more clear. Then you're going to tap on your powder. Okay, it's all sprinkled on. And you're going to tap off any extra powder. So we're just kind of keeping it over the paper a little bit. And then I usually hold it off to the side. Let's see, can you see that? And I just flick it a couple times. And that usually gets off any extra powder. See how there's not really any outside the lines? That's what you want. Okay, I'm going to dump this back in because this powder is notorious for getting everywhere. And sometimes you don't want it everywhere. Okay, now we can set that to the side, and we're going to heat emboss our image before our ink dries out. So this one is far enough down. I think I can just hold it and emboss, but sometimes I have to hold it with my tweezers. All right, I'm going to try and hold it so you can see when it turns gold. Okay, and I always heat up the back side a little bit too. I feel like that helps my paper stay more flat. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the way I do it. Okay, so now we have our embossed Merry Christmas, and then on here we're gonna stamp our little swirly marks. Okay, so we have, I need to take this tree off that I left on. I'm gonna put it over here very carefully. Okay, if I forget where that is, someone has to remind me. All right, now we're gonna put this little swirly stamp. I think it's strings. I think it's supposed to be strings on. And for this part, we need some black ink. So we're going to use Memento Tuxedo Black. And again, we're just going to tap, we're tapping our ink on. This is a linen pad, and so it's hard. It won't squish when you push on it, but you still are going to be able to really just, you can lay it on your stamp and just press gently and the ink will transfer. You don't have to smash your stamps into your ink to get an image. Okay, now what I wanted my lines to do is go like a little wave. So I'm going to stamp on the right side with the arch facing down. And then I'm going to ink it up again. And I'm going to stamp on the left side with my arch going up. Okay, just like that. I wonder if I need to move my camera. If you're watching and you can see, am I stamping close enough to the middle that you can see what's going on? Should I stamp a little farther up like that? Maybe. Okay. So there we have our stamped piece. We've got our circle, our designer series paper. And let's put this all together. We're going to turn our designer series paper over. And I left my adhesive over here. It's still in my travel bag from the weekend. Okay, thank you, Kim. Okay, we're going to put a thin line of glue. I'm using the liquid glue. That is my favorite. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but I love that I can wiggle it around a little bit. So we've got a thin line around the edge, and then I'm going to put a squiggle down the middle. I hope you can see that right there, maybe. That glue around the edge is just a little thin line. You don't need very much. Okay, and there's a little squiggle in the middle. And we're going to line this up right with the edge. And hopefully, if I cut it right, it will line up perfectly. But it looks like I got it just a little bit too long. Okay, see that? How it's a little bit too long right there? I'm going to turn it over and I'm just going to trim that edge off. Because if it's a little bit long, it might not fit in the envelope as nicely as I want it to. But anytime you've run over your edge a little bit, you can always turn it over and trim that right off. Okay, let's press that down. Okay, and next we're going to put this part on. So we're going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. And over here I have some edge pieces left, and I'm just going to use those up. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. It was a nice afternoon. The sun was out. It was so nice that I almost went and cleaned out my flower bed for fall, but I didn't quite make it out of my craft room. I know that's hard to believe. I do also like being outside, but once it starts to get a little chilly, that is definitely not my favorite time to be out. Okay, we're going to line this up kind of in the center and press that down. And next, we're going to do our circle. So we're going to do that the same way. Just grab some dimensionals and pop those on the back. This is a really nice stamp set. I really like this one. I wasn't sure at first because I'm not always big on, I like traditional Christmas. So I tend to lean towards traditional Christmas colors, and I went completely the other way this time with this stamp set. Well, I didn't know that I would until I got it, you know. And I saw other people using it, and I really wanted to try it for myself. Oh, I already cut these. Okay. I thought I needed to trim the edges, but I had already done that. Okay, I'm putting a dimensional on the back of the ornament thing. Ornament hanger. Is that what you call it? And then I'm going to tie a bow with some of this little black and gold thread. Now, if you get this thread, I just want you to know ahead of time that it takes a minute to tie these little bows. Not because tying the bow is hard, but it's kind of a slippery little thread. And so if you don't pull it real tight, your knot will untie itself. So I try to tie it kind of quick and then hurry up and stick it on a glue dot before it tries to untie itself. So if we just stick it right on here, then it won't untie. And we can trim the other end. And we're just going to stick that on the top. There we go. Just like that. And now we can put our little gold stars on. If I can pick them up. Okay, I'm going to turn them over. I've got 1, 2, I'm going to put 3 on. And then I'll save this last one for later. I don't know what it'll go on, but we'll see. Okay, and I'm just going to put mini dimensionals on the back, because that'll make them easy to stick anywhere. I don't know how many people like traditional Christmas or modern Christmas. I've never had, I always see pictures in magazines of like a Christmas tree and it's all pink and silver, or a Christmas tree and it's all blue, or one that's all purple. My Christmas trees, as far back as I can remember, have been full of multicolored ornaments and um, a lot of homemade ornaments. I have ornaments that my grandmother made, ornaments that were mine as a kid that I made. Oh, you have traditional too, Kim. That it's just what I've always liked. Okay, here is our first card. So I think that one's really pretty. And we'll move right along to the next one. I don't know where to put them. Okay, I'm going to put them up here because maybe you still want to look at them while I'm working on something else, on the next thing. Okay, for the next one, we're going to use some Lost Lagoon. And now this is not a color that I would say is the traditional Christmas color. It is a green, right? And green is Christmassy, but it's not like a forest green or garden green. It's definitely a different green than I would traditionally use. Okay, we're going to cut this at 5.5. So we're making another standard size card here. And then we're going to score it at 4.25. I do know a lot of people don't score their cards before they fold them, but I have a hard time folding a straight line for some reason if I don't score it first. Now, I have been practicing, so I've gotten better about it, but I still don't feel like my folds are exactly what they should be. Okay, that is the first part. Now we need a piece of white that is 4 by 5.25. And then I wanted snowflakes. I wanted embossed snowflakes. So from last year, I have, if I can find where I put it, I know I just used it. I have a all right, I don't know what I did with it. I know I have a snowflake folder and I don't know where I put it. I might have put it, I don't know. I thought I had it out. All right. Maybe I put it away somewhere. Ah, I think I found it. Yep. It got tucked in behind the plaid folder. Plaid just hides things, right? It's supposed to, I guess. All right, this is the Snowflake 3D folder from last year. So if you have this folder, you can get that out and we're going to use it. Now, I wanted on my card the snowflakes to be more at the top and less at the bottom. So like they were all bunched up, right, in the sky. And then they kind of separate out at the bottom. I don't know if you can even see them on there. But there's less here at the bottom than at the top. But on the folder, when you look at it, there's more at the bottom than at the top. So what I did was I embossed it and then I just turned it upside down. Okay. So we're going to emboss that. And then I wanted my sky to sparkle. Okay, I wanted it to be sparkly. So I took my Wink of Stella brush and I flicked it with all the sparkly bits, okay? So you want to make sure that it's good and juicy, right? And then we're just going to splash it so that it gets speckles. Now we're going to use Wink of Stella a couple times making this card because I really like things to be sparkly. So we're going to splash it so our snowflakes are sparkly. That's going to be our next layer. Now we're going to cut an arch that's basic white. So we need our Everyday Arches die. And this is a great die, even if you don't have the stamp set that goes with it. There are, look at all those arches. You can tell which one I used, right? Because it's already popping out at me. So we're going to get some basic white. We're going to cut this arch. Trying to look for a scrap that'll fit, but I don't know if I have one. I think I'll just have to cut a piece. Okay. So we want to measure our arch because we're, oh, I just put that on a stamp and I didn't clean it. I'm getting carried away tonight. Can you tell I'm excited about the projects we're making? I even rolled over a piece of paper that was on the ground. That almost never happens. Okay, our arch is about 3 1/4 inches wide. So we're going to cut our basic white just a bit larger than that. So I'm going to cut it at 3 I think that'd be 3/8. So it's just big enough to hold the arch. Then I'll put my scrap off to the side because I'm sure I'll need that again. Okay, here is our arch, and we are going to make that sparkly too. But I'll show you what else we're going to do because we're not just going to make it sparkly. We're doing a lot of die cutting and a lot of embossing tonight. So that's why it's taking just a bit longer than it normally would. Okay, first, we're going to take some Lost Lagoon ink and our little sponge dauber, and we're going to sponge the edges of our arch like this. Just enough to add a little color to it. If you are watching on Facebook and you like or share this video, that helps me grow my channel. If you are watching on YouTube and you like and share, that's the same thing. I have been doing videos, I think, well, for at least a year now. I did have to slow down for a little while. But I'm back at it and I am really enjoying it. Okay, now first we're going to splash it with some ink here in the sky. It just kind of makes it look like little sparkly snow or sparkly stars. Okay, and then what I wanted to show you, I hope you can see it, is I'm going to take my Wink of Stella brush and I'm just going along the edge of my arch. Now it's going to blend that Lost Lagoon ink a little bit, and it's going to add like a little bit of a sparkly edge to this. It's not going to be a lot, but it's going to help it stand out a little from the background. Especially since otherwise it would be white on white, right? And you could do this with any color. Okay, there's that. And then we need one more piece of white to stamp our little trees. So this is our white for that, and we're going to stamp them in Lost Lagoon. And this time we're going to use this tree. Now these are all, we're using all the same stamp set for these first two cards. The last card, we're adding in another stamp set. Okay, now the first one, we're going to stamp in full strength. Okay, so we're just going to stamp like that. Then we're going to huff on it a little bit. And we're going to stamp a second time. Okay, and see how you get one that's really bright and one that's a little pale. Okay, and we're going to die cut both of those out with this triangle tree die. Okay, so there is our first one. And here's the next one. Okay, and now we're going to stamp our tree that we're going to emboss. So first we're going to clean this off so we don't ink ourselves up. And like I said, these aren't really traditional colors, but I think they turned out really nice. Okay. Now we're going to stamp our Christmas tree and we're going to emboss it. So back we go to the embossing buddy, and we're going to rub that on our white cardstock, our basic white. Okay, we're going to ink up our stamp with the Versamark. Now all of the inks are refillable, so you'll find that once they dry out, they don't work as well, and you'll really want to get a refill for them. Okay, we're going to stamp our tree. Remember, we're going to press firm, but not smash. Okay. Then we need our little piece of paper for our gold again. I had them separated before. Now I don't remember which is which. Oh, that one says clear on it. Good thing I wrote on them. All right, this one is the gold. Okay, so we're going to sprinkle on the powder. Okay. We're going to tap off the excess. And then we're just going to flick. Give it a flick. I flicked it twice. Okay. So there's that. Now we're going to get this gold powder put away before we take too deep a breath and breathe it in. That would not be good. Okay. Are you ready for the magic of embossing again? Here we go. All right, there's our little gold tree. Look how pretty that is. I love that little tree. Okay, we're gonna cut it out. And here's our last little tree. Isn't it so cute? Okay. Now over here in my, oh, I don't have the right size circle in my little stash. Okay. So we need to cut out a little circle. And for that, I'm going to use these stylish shapes. So I'm going to cut out not the smallest one, but the second smallest. And it looks like I could squeeze one in there, but I'm not sure, so I'm going to put it over here. Later I'll probably squeeze as many little shapes in there as I can. I like to cut a bunch out so I have them all in my little dish next to me. But I don't have the right circle this time. Okay, and this time I'm going to stamp a little bee jelly, which is right here. And this one will fit on the bee block. It might fit on an even smaller block, but I think that's a good size for this one. Okay, and we're going to tap, tap, tap in our ink. Uh-oh, I got it off to the side, so I'm going to have to be careful. See how I smudged it on the edge there? I just have to make sure I stamp really flat so I don't get that edge in there. All right. There we go. Okay, now one more time, we're going to use our little sponge dauber, and we're just going to go around the edges of our little sentiment. Okay, just like that. And now we're going to put our card together. So we've got all our pieces. We've got our little trees, our little circle, our arch, and our embossed snowflake. Or if you don't have snowflakes, just use whatever you've got. There's a new, I think there's a new sweater folder, embossing folder. That's really cute. All right, we're doing a thin line around the edge and a squiggle down the middle. Okay, and we're just going to put that one on next. Okay, now for the arch, we are going to take this gold and white thread and we're going to wrap it around. So I'm going to go around, I like it to go around 3 times. I don't know why. So there's 1, 2, 3. Is that right? Yeah. And then we'll tie a little bow. Now, I saw a trick the other day where someone said if you need to tie a bow, let's try it and see. You could take your little tweezers, if I can get them in there, and use them to pinch your knot so that when you're tying the bow, it doesn't loosen up before you have the chance to get it out of there. All right, now let's see if I can get it out without making a mess. It was a little tricky. You see, it felt like it was stuck there. But I think it held pretty good. And remember, this is that it's a thread, but it's kind of a slippery thread, so it's a little hard to get those knots to stay. You really have to pull it tight. I think what I'll do is sneak a mini glue dot in there when we're done. Okay, and when I wrap my thread around like that, I always like to kind of spread it out a little on the edges just so it's more obvious. I feel like if it's all bunched up in the middle, people don't notice it as much. And if you're going through all the trouble of tying it and getting it to stick, you want people to see it. You want it to be noticed. Okay, we're going to turn it over and add some dimensionals. I put those really randomly. I don't usually I'm a little more evenly spaced than that, but that was a little random. Okay, then we're going to put that on our card. I kind of put it in the center, but towards the bottom a little bit, because I want all those sparkles to show that we worked so hard on earlier. Okay, now we're going to put our trees on. And this one I put on flat, but I used glue dots because I find that sometimes with the thread underneath, the liquid glue takes a little longer to dry, and so the thread will kind of hold up your shape a little bit, and it won't let it lay flat. But the glue dots will, because they're dry right away, you can just stick it right on down. Okay, and this one we are going to use dimensionals on. So I'm going to put one at the bottom and then one up near the top. I'm really off center tonight. I blame it on my sandwich. I got a sandwich for lunch and it wasn't optimum. Let's just say it that way. I got it from Subway, and usually I like their sandwiches, but they were out of the bread that I wanted. And then my sandwich was put together so weird that it looked like all the insides were on the outside. I was really frustrated by that. Okay. So, in fact, I was so mad. I was like, I'm never going back there. Which is probably not true. I probably will go back there. Okay, there's 2 of our trees. Now we need 1 more. And, of course, we're going to put this one on dimensionals too. There we go. Okay. Oh, I had the same problem last time. I kind of put my dimensional in a funny spot. So my tree has to be a little closer to this side than I planned, but I think it looks okay. It's just not in the center like I thought it would be. And then we're going to put our sentiment up here. So we need to make sure we put a dimensional behind the bee, not behind the jolly, because otherwise it won't sit flat on our card. Okay, so we're going to put it up here in the corner, and then down on the other side to hold it together, we're going to put a mini glue dot. All right. Then that's going to go right up in the corner. And there is our second card. So I hope you like both of those tonight. We can, we're going to do 1 more. Hi, Karen. I'm so happy to see you. I'm happy that you're back home. Okay, these are our first 2 cards, and we've got 1 more to go. All right, so for this last one, we need another basic white base. And this one is 5.5 by 8.5. Thank you, Kim. We've got 1 more to go, and this one is a pink one. I didn't actually finish my sample, so hopefully we can get this done together. All right, we're going to fold that in half, and we're going to press it with our bone folder because we want our crease to be creased. All right, and then we need another piece of white, and we want it to be 5.25 by 4. We're doing a lot of embossing tonight. I really like embossing. Sometimes I don't do it because it takes a little extra time, but it's really worth it. Okay, so we've got it 5.25 by 4, and this time we're going to emboss using the So Swirly folder. So look at this folder. I don't know if you can see it. That is so cool, isn't it? But I thought I really wanted to use a snow folder, but then I was thinking, oh, it kind of does look like snow. It's kind of like windy, swirly, whirly, windy snow. Okay. Now, this embossing folder, if you get it, something you should know, this is not a 3D folder. It's just a regular folder. So your sandwich is going to be a little bit different than when you use the 3D folder. on the Big Shot, I use just the base plate and then 2 clear plates, okay, on either side. It doesn't have the icky snow. I know, I am not a huge fan of the snow, but I do like it when I'm inside just watching it outside. Okay, so here's our swirly whirly snow. And then we need some more basic white because we are going to make some trees, some more trees. All right, here's a scrap. I think that'll work for a few trees. I didn't get my scraps ready ahead of time. All right, and I keep losing where I put everything. Okay, so this time we're going to cut some trees out. We're going to cut out 2 trees, okay? And we're just cutting out 2 plain trees. I forgot the plate. I forgot to redo my sandwich. Hold on. Okay, so here's one. Okay, here's 2. And now the third one we're going to emboss. So we need another little gold embossed tree. And since you saw me do that earlier, I'm going to steal one that I already had done from my stash, my little stash of finished pieces. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to stamp on this little tree, but we're going to use the stamp set Beautiful Motifs. Okay, so this little I don't know what you call it, like this pattern is what we're going to use. I'm sure there's a name for it, like some kind of fancy French name, but I don't know what it is. So we're going to use Bubble Bath ink, which must already be over here somewhere because it's not in my pile. Where did I put it? Aha. Okay, so we've got our Bubble Bath ink and we have our fancy pattern. We're going to make sure it's going the way we want it to go, and I assume it could go anyway, but I'm going to have it going the same way as it looks like on the front of the stamp set. So I'm making sure that my little flowers are facing up. And I'm going to stamp that right on my tree. Now, it's not quite big enough to cover the whole tree, so I stamped off to the right. And then I'm just going to stamp here on the left. I'm kind of overlapping them just a little bit. Okay, so there is my first tree. Now my other tree, I'm going to do something totally different. Well, we're still going to use ink, but it's going to be different. Okay. So we're going to take this other tree and we're going to put it inside our plaid, Forever Plaid folder. And we're going to emboss it. Okay, so there is our little plaid embossed tree. Now what we're going to do is take our ink pad and very carefully we're going to add the ink to the little embossed tree. So we're just going to kind of swipe it along there. Then we're going to turn it around so we can get both sides. Okay. And I didn't swipe it very much. I didn't press hard at all. I just kind of let it drag across the top. Okay, so here are our little, I feel like that one, the little trunk needs something. But I don't know what. So we're just gonna let it be. I can't figure it out right now. Or maybe not I can't, but I just don't know what I would put there. Okay, so then we have our 3 little trees. I must be doing things in groups of 3 today. That seems like both of these are 3s. All right, and then, no, I feel like that's too bright. That's not, it is that color, but it's not what I want. So let's, I think I brought some ribbon over here. Yep. And this is the really fancy ribbon with a super fancy name. It's called White 1/4 inch ribbon. See how fancy it is? All right, and we are going to wrap this around here. And I'm not actually going to wrap it all the way around because I feel like it saves me a little time if I do it this way. I'll just trim it so that it's a little longer than my piece of cardstock that's embossed, and I'm going to put a little glue dot on each end. Okay. And if you're signed up for my email list, I will be writing out the directions for these, and I'll send them out this week in a tutorial. And if you want me to send you the kit, then all you have to do is order $75 or more and choose me as your demonstrator. Now, if you do that by Saturday at 11:59, I will send you the kit. And what the kit is the card bases, the die cuts. I'll cut those out for you. I'll cut out the layers and emboss them. All right, and now we're gonna pop this up. So I need my Stampin' Dimensionals. The next in-person card class is this month. I think it's November 16th. Is that the 3rd Friday? I don't know for sure. I think it's the 3rd Friday. It's November 16th. Okay, we're taking our dimensional backs off. I don't know what the cards will be yet because I have not designed them. But I'm sure they'll be wonderful. Okay, we put that in the middle. And then we're going to put our little trees on. I think I'm going to put them all on dimensionals. Do you think that's a bad idea? I don't know, but I really like them all popped up. But I definitely want that gold one in the middle. Okay. So here is, I think I'm going to put this one on this side because I'm not 100% sure about its trunk, and I kind of want to cover it up with the sentiment, and I want the sentiment to go on the right side, I think, or slightly towards the right, not maybe all the way on the right. All right, and the next free card class here will be on the third Sunday of the month. All right, here's our second tree. Now, because those are on dimensionals, I kind of want this one to be on double dimensionals, okay? So let me see if I do have some regular size ones. I thought I only had mini ones, but I do have some regular size ones left. All right, so what I'm going to do is double dimensional this one. Sometimes I do that if I want one part to just pop up a little more. And it will still fit in the envelope. It's just going to be a little, I'm just going to have to smush it just a little tiny bit to get it in there. Not all the way. Okay. So then here is our little gold tree. Oh my gosh, I think it's so pretty already. Okay. So there's that. Now we need our sentiment. So we're going to do wishing you peace and joy. I really like that. So let's get that one out. We can put this flowery one back away. The fancy flower. I do have one more to put away, just so I don't forget. Okay, wishing you peace and joy. Let's see if our white piece is long enough for that. I might need a different one if it's not. Ooh, I think it's perfect. Okay, so we're going to emboss one more time. Hello, Janelle. Uh-oh, I see comments now. I wasn't looking because I didn't see any earlier. Okay. I was just seeing earlier, Karen, that I never used anything but traditional colors for Christmas before. I've never had, like, I was telling Kim, because she was on here earlier. I think she's still there, but I don't know. That I just always had regular just a regular Christmas tree. I never had like an all blue tree or an all purple tree or an all pink tree. I just had one tree with all the colors. And before I had kids, I always got white Christmas lights. All my Christmas lights were white. I would get a real tree, put on the white lights, and just try to arrange them so that they shine through the bulbs and kind of show the colors. Okay, I'm stamping I started talking a lot now. Okay, now trying to be careful so I don't smudge that ink. I'm gonna put it on my little piece of paper that I set aside for only gold, right? You are still here, Kim. I kind of thought you were, but it doesn't show me who's there and who's not. I can see that there's a couple people watching now. But the colors have grown on me. Like now I like other colors too for Christmas. But my Christmas tree is still it's all mishmash. Like lots and lots of homemade ornaments. I've got little crocheted angels. I've got little wooden ornaments that people have made me. I have a lot of handmade ornaments. I have a lot of crocheted snowflakes because one year I made those for someone for a baby shower and I ended up with a lot of extras. Okay, there's our gold and we're going to put its lid on right away. Okay, now I just have to emboss these. Uh-oh, there's a little dog hair got in there, I think. Got it. Okay, there is, there's that. And then I think that's crooked, you guys. That's my sentiment's crooked. I'm going to have to trim it. I put it on a scrap piece and maybe I shouldn't have done that. All right, I'm going to trim it. Okay, maybe I can get it a little straighter than it looks like, but I think I made it worse. I think I made it more crooked. Maybe I should have made it crooked on purpose. All right. I'm just gonna. All right, now I'm gonna trim the other side. I'm getting carried away. Pretty soon I'm gonna be like, oh, there's nothing left. Because I will just keep trimming and trimming and trimming. I'm not speaking from experience at all. Not at all. Okay, it's a little bit crooked, but I think it's fine. Now we're going to do one last thing. Because I just thought of it and I think it's a good idea. Okay, I'm going to trim off a little sliver of this gold. Well, I'm not going to make it too tiny a sliver just because a super tiny sliver would be hard to manage, right? Okay, and we're just going to offset it a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to use is some little glue dots. I could use liquid glue, but remember how I said liquid glue takes a little minute to dry? If I put liquid glue on and stick it to this shiny gold, it will take more than a minute to dry. It takes a little extra time. All right, so we're just going to offset it a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to trim the end. I'm not going to trim it even because it's not even on the other side. Okay, now I'm going to put it on some little dimensionals. Oh, I like lots of sparkle too. You know what? I love to go to Bronner's and look at all the ornaments. And I love hand painted ornaments, which reminds me, I have an ornament that I have to finish that someone gave me last year. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna finish that. Okay, so here is our little sentiment. Now, do we need a bow? I feel like maybe we need a bow. But if we did, it would have to go right here, right? I think right there. Let's see. Thank you, Kim. I thought it was going to be pretty, but I wasn't sure because I didn't finish it ahead of time. You know how sometimes when you're on the what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Under pressure, I guess. Sometimes things don't turn out the way you might hope they would. All right, trying to get this little bow together. I feel like it would be really cute on there if I can make it pretty tiny, like just a little tiny guy. All right. There, I think that's gonna be perfect. Look, won't that be really cute right there? Okay, I'm gonna stick it on with glue dots. I couldn't find them for a minute. It's funny how they've been in the same place all night and yet I could not find them. All right, there. Oh my gosh, I really love it. Okay, I hope you guys love it too. So there is our last little pink card. Here is the second one. Remember to use your Wink of Stella. Use it on there. It's so pretty and sparkly. And then here is that first one. Okay, so those are the cards that you will get the kit for if you place an order by Saturday at 11:59 and choose me as your demonstrator. If not, I will see you in our next free video, which would be on the third Sunday of the month. And I don't know what the date for that would be. I did create on the fly a little bit tonight, Janelle. I kind of switched back to planning ahead, but this time I only planned ahead a little bit. I know this paper is pretty, isn't it? I do really like it. I do really like it. But I wasn't sure I wanted to use all paper for the cards. So, oh, and I could show you the cards from our team meeting. For those of you who are All-Star Stampers, you'll probably already have these. But if you're not, then you might not have seen them. Here, let me switch it back real quick so you can see what we made using the same paper. Okay, so here is a little, you could use it as an ornament or a tag on a bag or gift. So that's really cute. We made these little cards, which were really pretty. This paper, this modern Christmas paper, is really cute. These are cut out from the paper, so you could do that. And then the last one looks like this. So those are all the cards I've made so far using this Modern Christmas paper. But I really like this stamp set. It's nice. And I have to show you, I didn't finish the card that I started, but this little tree, can you see that little embossing on there? I think it's really cute. And that is made with that stamp from this beautiful motif set. So I really like this swirly sort of stamp. That's cute. We use this one tonight, and this is that one, just with some embossing powder on it. So that's really cute too. Keep that in mind if you have that beautiful motifs and you're working on these cards. That little tree is cute with that on there. Okay, that is all for tonight. Friends, neighbors, I will see you next time, and until then, happy stamping.